How do you see BRICS developing as a political entity?
I think, the intention, there was never the intention when Jim O'Neill created a BRICS simple acronym where demographics effectively was tied to sort of economic forecasting. There was never a consideration that BRICS would form some sort of coherent political union perhaps, but we've seen, particularly in the last, I'd say, year and a half, since December 2010, particularly after South Africa was invited by Beijing to join the so-called BRICS grouping, almost the BRICS has taken on a geopolitical sort of character of its own. The acronym has certainly been hijacked from Goldman Sachs, and we see increasingly uncertain issues, particularly in this very turbulent, chaotic global political economy in which we live. The BRICS are starting to take positions will begin to take positions at least on political issues. Syria is certainly very much a case in point, much to the displeasure, arguably, of traditional Western actors.
How do you see them balancing these various agendas in favour of a set of a common goal within the BRICS?
I think it's, my life is very much involved in the commercial space. It's extremely difficult to align the respective commercial interests of the BRICS, particularly when it comes to neighbouring economies. I'm talking particularly here Russia, China, India. Neighbours will always have geoeconomic frictions or geopolitical, maybe even sort of geostrategic frictions as well. So I think at a commercial level, to align the interests, it's particularly difficult. South Africa, China are talking around alignment of interests within the region of Africa. That's almost proof that South Africa is the default sort of African candidate. We're not talking about alignment of Chinese and South African interests in Southeast Asia, for example. So I think it's quite different in that sense. The areas of collaboration that have been identified by government, again, by respective BRICS government, again, what vehicles are the BRICS government, what levers are at their disposal to pull towards collaboration. There's developmental banks. This was proposed by the Indians earlier this year. There's stock exchanges, perhaps, which with the cross-listing of indices across various stock exchanges the uptake has not been all that great, to be honest. And there's other issues around common currencies, alignment of currencies, trade as common, replacement perhaps of US dollars, trade-denominated currencies. So there's various areas, but ultimately I think to the alignment of interest perhaps at this early stage, relatively speaking, is still somewhat exaggerated.
Okay, and beyond BRICS, what do you see happening in the future?
There's always been contentious to whether South Africa should have been invited to become a BRICS country. 50 million people, we're a relatively small-sized Chinese province or an Indian state. Ultimately, the S in BRICS should stand for SADC, a regional market of 273 currently million people. If we're able to align our regional integration pursuits with our BRICS membership, it would certainly give us far more credibility from a market size perspective and far more sort of negotiating influence within the BRICS as an integrated regional market. We're bigger than Brazil as a region, we're bigger than Russia, we're certainly bigger than other candidate members such as Indonesia, Mexico, Turkey, amongst others. And I think that's the second point is as we start to add letters to the BRICS, so the acronym will become unpronounceable. How do we put an M in Mexico into BRICS? How do we put a V from Vietnam into BRICS? So I think what we'll see emerge is almost like a G6 or a G7. We'll have an E5 currently, BRICS, the E5. We throw an Indonesia in, we throw a Turkey perhaps, we throw Vietnam, E6, E7, E8, etc. And then we'll see two sort of blocks is again exaggeration, but two groupings emerge, both with very countering geopolitical interests. One is sort of the group of 6, the group of 7, the emerging developed established countries. I think established is the key word here. Established both commercial and political vested interests. And then you'll see the E6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever it may be, with emerging interests, not vested, but certainly more assertive interests. And I think that'll so increasingly, as we move forward, we'll see a greater division in the global political economy between the Gs and the Es.